Guys, gals, thank you very much for joining me for this episode. I hope you all are doing well. Today we are talking about this right here. This is my fire kit. And with this episode, I'm going over what I carry, why I carry it, and how this system changes based upon the adventure that I'm going on. With each adventure, there are specific items that stay with me for each trip, but at the same time, my kit changes just about every single time that I go out. It of course depends on where I'm going, how long I'm going out, the conditions, weather conditions, and so on. Now, before going any further, let me say that my name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review. And second, I apologize for the wind noise. I will try to edit that out. I drove all the way out here. It's about 50 miles to Lone Wolf Mountain from my home, and it is super windy today. And with that being said, let's continue on. When it comes to my fire kit, it is likely to be very different from yours. Everybody should have a different type of fire kit that really fits their needs, fits their skills, and so on. Now with my fire kit, it is a combination kit. My fire kit includes fire making products, items, gear, but also my cook set, my stove, my pot, my cup, cutlery, and so on. So starting with the basis of my fire kit, we have this Kifaru ultralight pullout. This is one little bag out of an entire set which you can buy. You can buy these individually if you're interested. I have a review on these. They are excellent. So opening this up, first we have my pot, cup, and washcloth. So the pot is a 750 milliliter Toaks pot with lid. It has a bail handle. On the inside, I just about always have a titanium cup. This is from MSR, and this is the Titan Cup. And it features butterfly handles. So with these here, I can boil water for my dinner, I could cook in this, have coffee, and so on. Inside of the cup, I always have a washcloth, and this is invaluable. I use this for picking up hot pots. I use this for cleaning up camp, my cookware. Sometimes I will use this to clean up myself as well. Also, sometimes I will use these for tarp setups, essentially as a form of protection between a stick and my tarp. It works really, really well in that regards. Multi-purpose all the time. Inside of the cup, in this case, I have my stove, and it is wrapped in this cloth. That way there's no ting tang ping as I'm walking around. I will come back to the stove in just a minute because the type of stove that I take with me changes every time that I go out. It should be mentioned if I'm going out with, say, Susie, I do bring along an extra cup. Again, that's a good example of how this changes and evolves depending on the trip that I'm going on. Next up, paper towel. This is one full-size paper towel that I have cut in half. And it's also perforated here in the middle. That way I could tear a square or use a whole one. I use this for cleaning up and whatnot. Next up, a piece of tin foil. You can cook with this, you can make a windscreen out of it, you can make a lid for your cup. There are so many things that you can do with this. And because of that, I always make sure to have a piece of tin foil with me. Next up, let's talk about fire starters. I always make sure to have at least 2 different forms, a lighter and matches. There are times when using a lighter simply isn't the best method, where matches come in very, very handy. A good example of this is with an alcohol stove. Sometimes lighting those alcohol stoves with a lighter can be difficult. Not so with matches. Next up, I have some trioxane. In fact, I have 4 of these. These are fire starters, and I will use these for many different purposes. Sometimes I will use these to get a fire going after it's rained, or I will use one to heat up some water for coffee if I don't want to get the stove out. There are so many reasons to carry with you a good fire starter, and trioxane is a good one. It's lightweight, burns for a long time, and also it is very, very inexpensive. Moving on, I have a piece of wire. I always make sure to have a piece of wire with me, and it's because it's such a versatile piece of kit. You can use this for so many different things. You can use this to hang your pot over a fire. You can use this for repairs. You can hang things off of your backpack. This weighs absolutely nothing, and it can save your butt. Next, I have a pocket bellows. I don't always carry this with me. It really does depend on the trip, but this thing can make the difference between having a fire and not having one, especially if you live in wet, damp locations like I do. You take this bellows, you blow in it, and you deliver lots of oxygen to your fire very, very easily. Next up, I have this ferro rod. This thing is 100% waterproof. It always works. It works very, very well. This is my backup to my backup. Moving on, I have my cutlery. And this will evolve depending on the type of trip that I'm going on. In this case, I have a spatula, I have a spoon sport combo. If I'm going out by myself, I'll just take one. The spatula, I will take it if I'm cooking. If I'm not really cooking something that requires this, I'll leave it at the house. With this kit from Gerber, it comes with a can opener as well, but I found that I very rarely ever use it. So yeah, it doesn't come with me most of the time. If I'm planning to do a lot of cooking, I will bring with me a very sharp knife. Only if I'm doing a lot of cooking and I need to process food and whatnot. Next up, I want to focus your attention on stoves. I have 3 examples here, and these are for 3 very different sets of situations, conditions, and whatnot. Warm weather, warm and cool weather, and cold weather. Now, of course, with these stoves, you can mix and match somewhat, but we're not talking about that right now. You will find a gear list in the description box if you're interested in this stuff. You will not find affiliate links. I don't try to sell anything. The Outdoor Gear Review is 100% agenda-free. Anyways, butane stoves work very, very well in very warm conditions. You can run these down to roughly 45 degrees and they run well, but past that point, it's not the best. We have a butane and propane stove. This works fantastically in warm conditions. It also works very well in cool conditions. Down to around like 29, 28 degrees, this will work well. You will have to keep the fuel warm. Warm it up before you use it, and if you have to, put your hands on it to kind of warm the can just a little bit if you're using this in cold conditions. Now, when it comes to alcohol, you can use this in warm weather, you can use this in cool weather, and you can also use this in very cold weather. These alcohol stoves, they're not very efficient, but they do work well, and it doesn't matter how cold it is. Again, everyone, when it comes to these stoves, you can mix and match these in conditions. And to do so, you need to know how to properly use each of these. You need to know how to warm the fuel, keep it warm, and so on. In the future, I will discuss this in more detail. But for the sake of my fire kit, I've shown you here essentially what I carry with me, why I carry it, and with the stoves, why I may choose one over the other. When it comes to a fire kit, there are multiple aspects that are extremely important. First off, you need to know how to use every single item in your fire kit. And you need to know how to use it properly, when to use it, when not to use it. And also, you need to be ready and prepared to alter that fire kit, to customize it for the trip that you're going on. If I'm going out for a long duration backpacking trip, this kit will look very, very different because I would be focusing on saving weight, going as lightweight as possible. If I'm going out for a short duration bushcraft trip, I may add to this kit because of the possibility, because I may need something additional. Of course, every single trip is different. It's based upon duration, the conditions, how wet it's going to be, and so on. When you're preparing for your next adventure and you're looking at your fire kit, take a look at each item and ask yourself this: does the item justify the weight inside of your backpack? So to wrap this up, that is my fire kit. That is essentially what gets me through my trips. That is what I use. And I use this to start fires. I use this to cook food. I use this to heat up water for coffee. The world's best coffee, by the way. Taster's nasty. It does this to you, everyone. Women too. Anyways, I would love to hear from you all. What do you personally have inside of your fire kit? What do you carry with you? Do you carry the bare minimum? I know people, backpackers, hikers, outdoorsmen, they carry nothing but matches or nothing but one lighter. I know individuals who have like 3-pound fire kits. There is no right and wrong. It is a decision that every single person has to make. Every single kit is just as unique as each individual, and that's the way that it should be. Comment down below, what do you carry, what do you not carry, and I will talk to you all soon. Everyone, strength and honor. Also, if you have a question for me, email me. Take care.